through the seed today. Clear Mouse and Wall Kicks will be doing that for you. And we've got Lady Laura Linda and Toughile on tracking to keep us all in the game knowing what's going on. And as the timer's winding down here, I'm going to go and get our runners started. Clear Mouse and Wall Kicks, please take it away.
Well, good evening. Welcome to one of actually the first set of the Swiss matches, round 4 already. Where has the time gone for the tournament so far? And as I was going to say, this is actually going to be a really exciting match tonight. We've got two excellent runners, dazedcloud facing off against WindFox. These guys are both 2-1. Ready. Certainly, one loss so far, but certainly very, very much alive in the tournament. Very much looking forward to them racing and putting on a really good show tonight. Looks like actually Daze also has a really nice MSU and Mega Man X 4-6, so definitely going to be jamming out to some tunes. Looks like we are going to be on our way very shortly. Or never mind, I spoke just a little bit too late. And we're actually going to get some pretty different starting points. Looks pretty typical so far. We picked up a book in Link's house on WindFox's side. And Daze looks like starting traditionally with his Sanctuary start. And of course today it happens to be a vanilla entrance. So potentially this, where is Daze going? Potentially, oh, he's just gonna walk over into the full hand versus WindFox. Probably looks like taking a little bit more commonly seen, the path from Link's house. Gonna come visit the witch's hut, see what the entrance is there, and then kind of fake flipper back over, and then do exactly what Daze is gonna do. Alright, looks like we are actually get a free item so far. I think that was the Thieves drop down. Yeah. Free map 2. Okay, Thieves Town sounds good. Very, very apt. We get a Thieves hideout, and we are going to be able to find out what we are going to see for Thieves Town.
You know what I should do one of these days?
What should you do, Wall Kicks?
I should unmute.
You should unmute? Oh! And you know what, Wall Kicks? Everyone would love to hear your voice, so that, I would believe, is a good idea.
Don't mind me. Was wondering why you weren't responding to me. You know what? It's perfectly fine.
I understand now.
I have so many things open when it comes to when it comes to tracking Crosskeys that I don't have space for the Discord, so I didn't realize I was muted. But anyways, hey, hello.
Hello, Wall Kicks. Well, the important part is now you're back.
Don't mind me, but yes, yeah, 2-1. All right, I've actually been watching Grace. I haven't missed anything.
Well, that's good. And of course, not only, do we have, us and you tracking, we also have our official trackers here, Toughile and Lady Laura Linda, sorry. I got it right the first time. They're definitely going to keep us honest tonight. We've got lots of very experienced commentator and free-streaming crew tonight.
Definitely, and looks like we saw Misery Mire at the Hyrule Castle entrance, our first true dungeon. Not a whole lot we can do there until we get boots or a hookshot. So Daze is just gonna save and quit out. WindFox is gonna kind of probably see the same thing. The Sanctuary start, I think, is a little bit interesting because it kind of requires a little bit of quick thinking because you don't know where you're going to pop out. At least with starting at Link's house, you tend to have a little bit more of a solid route set up.
Oh yeah, and maybe for what it's worth though, Daze seems very comfortable starting. That's his normal opener at Sanctuary, so maybe he just likes that extra spice, right? Because Crosskeys, certainly, of course, with all the shuffled entrances, maybe he thinks it's too boring, so he needs a little bit more excitement, to start things off.
I am always down for excitement, and I mean, really, who can doubt the skill of a 121 Crosskeys?
Exactly, run? I know. I'm not even sure if that's world record, but it really seems like it is.
It's the best time I've seen. Finding our first connector up at the Lumberjack house. It turned out to be the Quarreling Brothers house, so a bunch of connectors. I'm not sure if Daze is going to follow that right off the bat. No bombs, though, so that's not going to be a case. We do see a vanilla Lumberjack, which
so
only
far,
20 rupees.
I was gonna say, so far it looks like actually all our drop downs have been not shuffled. I mean, this is Crosskeys certainly confirmed that we've seen like many other entrances shuffled, but at least for drop downs, they seem to be pretty stable.
How dare?
It's gonna give us this false sense of security, and then we're just gonna like randomly find Ganon and Kakariko or something like that.
Just don't accidentally drop down. Like
Yeah.
I've always wondered. So like, say you're doing your drop downs and you inadvertently drop down into Ganon, and you're like, oh shoot, does that change the Ganon war patterns? Because you would essentially once it is time to face Ganon, you're essentially fighting him a second time.
You know, I thought you had to die versus save and quit, but I guess I don't know.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It's just something that is
Yeah.
interesting to think about. So one of the things, and it looks like Daisy is going to actually do it with the early book. Daisy is going to give us a PED check. So if you have
this
interest in PED,
Yeah, this is exactly what I was wondering. Well, Kix, I was even going to ask you, like, do you think, you know, with this early book that they found, that we're going to be able to see what's on the pedestal so early on, even before they get boots?
why would boots have anything to do with?
Well, I mean, wouldn't it be nice to be able to, you know, run over here as opposed to like walk all the way up to the pedestal?
I mean, this is going to be almost the closest time you're going to be at to PED, unless you have a mirror and you're doing the backup skull wards. So I think doing it now would be ideal. Turns out it's nothing, so we don't have to worry about PED.
Yeah, Dace also got pretty lucky with that thief. I mean, it looks like he only got knocked out like 1 rupee or something like that, which you know, is a very generous thief, I guess, to find in the Lost Woods.
I would almost disagree with what's being said in chat about so common across the go mode before you can even get all 3 pendants. I tend to have a go mode of like, oh look, I'm in all dungeons go mode now.
Did you see what Dace just ended up buying for a measly, paltry 100 rupees from the bottle vendor?
It turned out to be a sword, which we love to see.
Yeah, that is certainly one of the nicer one of like 4 or 5 items you want to find early, and of course Daze, you know, pressing his luck even further, finding some very fortunate bombs here dropped down in the well. Actually, you see there's a little bit of hesitation from him earlier because he wanted to drop down, but he realized he didn't have any bombs, so but decided to drop down anyway, and looks like he was rewarded with quite some more.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the idea of Days not having bombs. It's a little interesting to me, but then again, I'm not someone who starts at Sanctuary, so I usually have like a few more entries to check, and so I feel like I'm more likely to have bombs. But WindFox also picked up a couple bombs. Not sure where he got those. Those might have been at the Waterfall Ferry entrance. That's
actually absolutely. We're gonna just demonstrate on Days' side, right? Yep, on the right side. Left side. There were 3 bombs, and we also have a map to Pod. So I still pretty not much doubt they're going to be able to do a map check so early on when they get to the Dark World with only 2 maps, but hey, you never know. And if they do, we get some more information.
Yeah, I suspect WindFox is more of a runner that likes to prioritize what he knows when it comes to pendants and crystals. And that's just a runner's preference. You know, sometimes if you have knowledge of your pendants and crystals, that could influence, you know, whether you want to go into a dungeon or not. Although with any sort of key sanity, you are more apt to go into a dungeon regardless, even more so in Crosskeys when, you know, the dungeon can just present itself to you.
That includes Eastern Palace, right?
I mean, Eastern Palace is a special case.
Okay, so apparently, you know, Kakariko is like bombs galore. We are not going to be short on resources here either.
Yeah, and one thing we saw on WindFox's side is that we did see the other end of the Quarreling Brothers connector, so that is one connector that we no longer have to consider when it comes to whether or not we want to take it. Usually in Kakariko we'll see a number of connectors, and kind of by the end of it you make your decision, okay, I want to take this one first and see where it ends up.
Yeah, nothing so far out of the ordinary other than that sword that we picked up in Kakariko, though. I mean, it's a very good item pickup, but nothing, at least so far, screams to be aiming towards more progression. Speaking of progression, that we actually can't get anything out of so far. As you said, wall kicks, that is another connector that we can potentially follow, but we also found Hookshot Cave early, so eventually we come back with the boots or Hookshot. We're going to be able to get a couple more things out of that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Dazed's ability to hover. I know WindFox has been practicing. I don't know if he's ever put his practice. I don't know if he's ever put his practice into a race setting, but I know he has made an effort to at least learn a little bit. Do see a Turtle Rock small key here in Crosskeys, 4 of those in the item pool. You know, in Crosskeys you likely never need more than 1, but you do get the rare seeds where, you know, maybe the front of Turtle Rock or the back of Turtle Rock is kind of like a connector that you can't actually get to without going into it. If that made sense.
It does actually. So, you know, so of course, you know, we are assuming, of course, that our runners are both intelligent with their key usage. Of course, the game, of course, does not make the same assumption, and that I think there are still like things that are logically required to have like all 4 small keys, right? Like I think like vanilla big key chest.
Yeah, the vanilla big key chest, and of course, Trinex are the only ones that are actually hard locked by 4 small keys. I think if you want to go back to front, it takes 3 keys logically, but I'm not 100% certain on that, so I'm not going to sit here and go off, and I'm not going to sit here and say one thing as fact. Looks like both runners are actually setting up to do some mimic clipping.
Yeah. Unlike Turtle Rock, when you know you probably can just get by, you know, the whole dungeon, or you know, or so with 1 or 2 keys. Pod is kind of like, you know what, I require as many keys as you could possibly find through the entire seed as often as you can.
Yeah, but what you're going to see both WindFox and Daze do is they're going to do a little trick where they are basically going to make this red mimic kind of leave the room. And how this room works is if there are no enemies on the screen, the game assumes that you've defeated all the enemies and opens the door for you to move on. So this bypasses a bow requirement because usually the red mimics are only vulnerable to arrows.
Yeah, both runners are trying to also do this bufferless, which is really impressive. Man, Daze, wow. Oh, I mean, it looked really good.
I thought Daze had that.
Yeah, I mean, WindFox though, like while Daze was actually trying to get that first mimic, I mean, do you see like does that mimic like on WindFox's side, that mimic just slid right off the screen? Wow.
So I mean, that's
very, very well practiced, you know, and well executed. You know, certainly WindFox's side, Daze looks like he's getting pretty close.
He's trying. For our troubles, we do get a small key at these times. That's a nice small key to pick up. It's the only one in the dungeon, but it potentially makes it to where that small key is not isolated, or that big chest, excuse me, is not isolated.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, this is one of those small keys where I guess it's technically considered to be, you know, a fetch quest for what it's worth, but it's like one of like the worst ones, right? Because you know you never want to go back later for basically that big chest.
But it looks like Daze gave up on his mimic clipping attempt, and instead will come back to it later, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, and this is totally reasonable, right? I mean, you know, you're already breaking logic by doing this mimic clip, so if you get it, you know, it's a nice bonus for you. In this case, you know, that the value of the Thieves Town small key is yet to be seen. Worst, you know, best case, it'll just save us another trip into Thieves Town. But, you know, still early on, right? Probably just going to cut your losses, and, you know, there's so much other open to you in Caparino, right? As well as the world.
Definitely. And I think with the uncle being here, I think this means we've determined that Ganon is going to be vanilla.
Have we seen Magic Bat? You have to remind me because
Magic Bat was at the Lost Woods.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then I think you are right. We've seen all our drop downs. So this is gonna be good news, right? I mean, like, one is if you're like, you know, you're gonna have to scale GT eventually. So chances are, you know, it's not gonna save you that decision of, oh man, am I gonna spend like an extra, you know, 5 minutes basically climbing up the tower versus maybe my opponent doesn't have to, or like who won't have to, but it's gonna waste that time.
Yeah, and that's actually like, someone came to me and was like, you know, hey, I think the best place for Ganon in a Crosskeys Heat is vanilla because of what exactly you just said. It takes the decision of, do I climb out of it? So, for both runners, I think that they might not like the fact that they have to find the GT key, but they know their opponent has to do it.
And certainly it's going to be more interesting, in my opinion, than, you know, fighting Ganon at the Lumberjack spot and just like, well, I guess I could do Aga Tower. You know, at least like climbing GT is a bit more interesting than that, right?
Yeah, and with Ganon being at Lumberjack, you're like, oh god, now I have to find 2 small keys that could be basically anywhere.
You just reminded me, most likely other people as well, that if you need to go kill Aga, those 2 Castle Tower small keys have not known to be your friend in Crosskeys.
No, definitely not. Although, speaking from experience, and this is, I'm sure, just bias on my part, it seems like anytime I have a Crosskeys seed with Ganon and Lumberjack, my go mode isn't those 2 castle tower keys. My go mode's the boots.
Oh, that's right. I'm so sorry, Wallkicks, if that's the case. Dude, I mean, it's like, you know, normal Crosskeys average seed is what, like 2 hours and, you know, like 20 minutes or something like that, 2 hours 15. And it's like, imagine like go mode boots, right? It's like you probably spent 2 hours like boostless.
Go mode boots when you know you need them.
Oh.
So a couple things that Daze has found. Yeah, he took a connector in South Kakariko and got taken to the Mire area, where he has seen Agina's Cave and one of the Hyrule Castle entrances. Choosing to take another connector as opposed to maybe checking the items, and we pop out on top of Dark Death Mountain.
Yeah, this is it's actually a pretty good connector. I mean, we've already got Dark Death Mountain access already, so this is going to be a pretty nice connector to be able to get over here. Can't unfortunately do anything for the time being. You know, no mirror, no pearl, means that we really don't have any access, but it looks like there are at least 3 items available for us to come back for.
Yeah, and it's interesting that we've seen connectors to these areas specifically, because these entrances are locked usually, you know, in non-entrance by myths. So we might not be seeing myths this seed. I say that, and I'm sure they're going to pop up quickly and make me look like a fool.
Well, you know, it's like, you know, so far it seems to be an indication that we may not need myths, like logically, right? It's like, and the, I guess the scary part is that, you know, if you don't think that you need something like logically, like you really hope that you just don't ever see, especially with an item like myths, because it just, you know, just like non-entrance, it opens up so much extra stuff for you to go check. So it's like, like what do I go do now when I now like have opened up like 20 more options for myself?
Yeah, and WindFox on the other hand decided to check kind of South Hyrule, check the dam, and then head west to because he has the book. We did see a dark room. We did see a dark cave at an entrance near desert. It was either Death Mountain Descent or the back of the Old Man Save Quit. I'm not sure which one, but I could tell based on the long narrow path initially.
Okay, so I mean, it looks like, at least by comparison, both our runners have, relatively speaking, a lot of common shared knowledge, right? And it looks like actually the path that they're taking is also pretty similar, right? Exploring most Kakariko, looks like they're actually also coming over to the East Lake area, and then also exploring like Eastern Palace area as well. Yeah,
I mean, I'm a little interested. Like, there's not a whole lot we've seen, and you know, in terms of entrances, we kind of don't have a whole lot left to us. Dazed checked out the one connector in Kakariko and has maybe a little bit more open to him, but we're not sure where the other Hyrule Castle entrance leads. So as of right now, you know, our options, weirdly enough, are becoming a little limited, which isn't something you normally think about so early in a Crosskey seed.
Yeah, and to couple with that all off, like, we still don't really have any progression out of like all the stuff that we explored, right? We have a sword, you know, which is nice for offense. We have a book, which I think they haven't checked Vanilla Desert location yet, but I mean, other than that, like, you know, like, we don't really have very many options other than what we started with, you know, like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, I know WindFox did check the Vanilla Desert. I don't think it was anything.
Okay.
And it looks like
because he was
Daze,
over there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like Daze is going to check the Old Man connector. By the way, that is a horrible save and quit point.
Alright, okay, so Daze found us out back in Kakariko, which is probably not the place he really wanted to end up at. Meanwhile, the WindFox, though, finds the back of Skullwood, so this could be potentially pretty useful later. We can't actually do anything, no fire rod. We do have the sword, but no small key. But at least, we're gonna be able to pick up a blue mail in the bridge chest. Mixed reviews for whether or not we want to see a mail upgrade so early. You know, on the one hand, it does, of course, offer us a lot of defense, especially when we venture out into the dark world, you know, with no pearl, which means we're pretty much defenseless. On the other hand, you know, dying and death warping is very much a thing to get out of, you know, very long places, especially without that mirror. So hopefully we're going to see that sooner than later.
I think we got to see something soon. WindFox is going to take
TM.
Yeah, soon TM. WindFox is going to check these 3 entrances in the south area of Kakariko. Didn't actually do it in his first time, so he's going to see this connector here that Daze has already seen. It looks. I think he's going to check the other 2 entrances first. Daze, meanwhile, it'll be interesting to see which route he goes. I suspect he's going to head probably towards the desert area, like WindFox did earlier. Yeah, not really a whole lot.
Yeah, what else is kind of left for our runners at this point?
I mean, in terms of entrances, if you're looking Light World, you have Mini Moldrum Cave and the 2 entrances.
Oh, right, we still have
Ice Rod Cave and the other.
Yeah, we have all of South Shore. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so not a whole lot going on. So again, something's going to come up soon, or we're going to be doing some bunny walking. And who doesn't love to bunny walk?
I would love to see some bunny walking from these guys. I mean, it's one of the features, right, about a Crosskeys is we get to do that so not often, right, in non-entrance.
It's true, and so yeah, bunny walking to a place, to an entrance, is entirely in logic, assuming, of course, that you got to the area where you are bunny walking.
Yes.
In a logically, obviously, if you took a connector out of logic that spits you out as a bunny, then obviously that part is not in logic. But the game can expect you to walk from one entrance to another entrance where maybe it's a connector, or it's something like the Hammer Pegs entrance, which has a standing item that you can pick up.
Yeah, and one thing also, right, is, potentially we could also be required to actually talk to an NPC in order to get another item, such as maybe, we end up finding, like, the Interested Hype Cave. There is an NPC there that potentially can give you an item. That is, talking to somebody is, of course, very much in logic as a bunny.
It's true.
Well, hopefully our runners, if this comes up, will remember.
Yes. So Daze saw the same connector that WindFox did, the same dark connector next to Desert. But because that's not in logic and the book that he has is in logic, he's going to take this desert entrance right here. It's not going to come up with anything, which is a little unfortunate because if you try to walk out, the game kind of blocks you and you can't actually walk out from this entrance after you've walked in.
Okay, so finally it looks like we're going to actually get some new content on WindFox's side. Okay, so what WindFox did was he walked in here to Hyrule Castle as a Buddy Fox, right? And so they ended up taking kind of like a death warp, and when he respawned back in the dungeon, he regained his original, like, Link Fox form. So this, I guess, we're not sure if this is actually in logic or not. What he did is certainly out of logic, but we don't actually know where the other connectors to Hyrule Castle are. So it's very possible that that the logic would require you to come into Hyrule Castle, right? Walk out of another connector, be in the light world, and walk back in.
Yes, and we have seen one Hyrule entrance, so we obviously found Hyrule. I think this is Hyrule Mid, so the center entrance. Mm-hmm. And then I know Daze walked out of the left and was on top of Dark Death Mountain. It looks like WindFox is going to save scum the small key. Kind of interesting, not something that I would see in this scenario.
Is something correct, yes. Right, so I guess technically, assuming this part is being here and doing this part is in logic, only the first chest, without us finding that other Hyrule Castle small key, like, floating somewhere, is in logic. Because you could have the exact same scenario. What WindFox is doing right now is you could take the key from the guard and then not spend it, right, and get to Zelda's cell. But
normally, if you see this, it's usually because the back of escape is somewhere like at the pyramid behind Aga 2 or at Lumberjack behind Aga 1. Today, our sanctuary is actually just vanilla, so that only requires a glove to get to. So I'm a little interested and curious to see why WindFox is choosing to do this. Plus, he's also doing this from the Dark World, which means, as you can see with his health going down, that all of the enemies...
This isn't the Dark World! Oh, that's right, yeah.
The enemies do Dark World damage, so the rats aren't rats, they're actually the crickets that you see in Thieves Town, so with Blue Mellow, they do a full heart of damage. But it looks like he's going to be rewarded at least a little bit with that Bombos Medallion.
Yeah, he's only on 1 heart, though, coming back into trying to get to the back of escape in the dark. I mean, like, already coming here from the Dark World, and being able to see things can actually still be a bit dangerous, because, like you said, wall kicks, everything pretty much does 2 hearts of damage. He's doing this in the dark. So certainly best of luck to him in order to, make it back here.
Hopefully he recognizes that, yeah, he has the Bombos Medallion, he has the magic, pull that out, and use that to your advantage here. because the bombos will still kill.
We saw the magic bar go down, so this is looks like he's trying to survive the best he can.
Maybe use it again right here, because I don't know if bombos kills everything unless it's on the screen. But it looks like he's got past it. So, all right, nicely done.
Very
on
nice.
WindFox
Yeah.
side.
All right. So he just has to not rush this. Just make sure he gets to the back.
Don't die here. But
the lamp. All right, perfect reward, of course.
A minute.
Could we have used that like 2 minutes ago? No, of course not. No.
All right, so that is glove locked entirely, and
very interesting. Yes.
It probably doesn't. It probably isn't going to be that important in the grand scheme of things, logic wise, but that is a little quirk to know.
Yeah, so the lamp, of course, is a very high quality of life. I'm every confidence, of course, of both runners, as we actually just demonstrated on one side, WindFox's side, he can do dark rooms, right, with relatively no issues. But of course, we're going to be able to see on his side, but also more importantly, we have a fire source from that lamp. Mm-hmm. So that could open up, a bit more stuff for us. However, as you said, wall kicks, that lamp is totally not in logic, so that's something for WindFox especially to keep in mind as he's trying to explore some more options available to him.
Yeah, and we saw on Day's side, I forgot that we actually saw another dark cave actually at the forest. Did he just YOLO that fake flipper? That was super impressive.
Yes, it's almost as if... Well, actually, no, I take that back. So Dave's opening is Sanctuary, right? So he's probably not as, used to, being the opening. But yeah, you couldn't tell because he just literally did that in, one movement.
Well, it didn't even look like he did it from the normal position that you fake flipper like that. That just looked really cool. But what I was saying earlier is that there was a dark cave that we found in the forest entrance, and it turns out that dark cave is actually connected to the one next to the desert one. So... it looks like when it comes to what we're looking for in logic, we have no entrances in the light world available to us anymore. It's going to have to be a connector of some sort. So it's either going to be the Hookshot Cave connector, or it's going to be Turtle Rock Hyrule Castle right at this point.
Yeah, that's right, because I'd forgotten that we had actually found Hookshot Cave super early on. We can't get, of course, into the items, because we're still missing, Hookshotter boots. However, though, there is very much connected to still follow. I guess I'm curious to see if that's where Daze is going to go.
It looks like he's gonna
be a different one.
He's gonna follow the one that took him to the Mire area, so he's gonna go into and check Hyrule Castle right at this point.
Okay. All right. Well, at least good for WindFox too. Give us a little bit of divergence. We're gonna be able to see what Hookshot Cave is gonna spit us out at.
Yeah. So this will be really our first actual divergence to see. So it'll be interesting to see who's right in this scenario. So buckle up because we're about to find out.
Oh yes. Where we ended up.
It's not.
We were just here!
Yeah, we were just here. All right, now we do have two other entrances that we haven't checked that WindFox.
Is that also vanilla?
Yes, as a matter of fact, that is vanilla. Oh god, WindFox, be careful. We are entirely doing some bunny shenanigans.
Oh, this is awesome. All right, so certainly this connector for Daze is paying off so far, gotten us actually to an actual chunky portion of the Dark World, the Village of Outcasts. We have a slightly displaced Thieves Town, it looks like, because we can't actually open the vanilla Thieves Town location as a bunny. But it looks like Daze is actually just going to Death Warp, take his form again, and then at least be able to claim the front 4 chassis.
Meanwhile, WindFox finds the potion shop here on West Dark Death Mountain. No mushroom to be able to do anything with that, but having that slight knowledge is fine. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where our progression lies, because this is definitely a good time for somebody walking. Hello, mushroom.
Yeah, did you say something about the mushroom?
I was just talking about that. Now, having said that, this is a Dark World thing, and the mushroom is not in logic until we get the Moon Pearl. But we'll see it eventually, maybe. Although
yes, eventually, West maybe.
That is a bad shot. That is a bad place for the potion shop to be.
Yeah, I guess also one thing about that mushroom, right, is, in non-entrance, especially when, I guess I saved something on mushroom doing, fake powder, it's actually probably much more common. Here in entrance, you really don't know where you're going to find that potion shop. You don't really know where things can turn up. It happens to be in our case, we know on WindFox's side where it is, but, the chances of you basically try to save that mushroom in hopes you get powder later is usually not to your advantage.
I mean, there was definitely a race determined, I believe, in week 2, where one runner in particular decided to hold on to that mushroom for a very long time, and then fake powdered in order to get their go mode fire rod.
Nuts! That's nuts.
in the meantime, skipping their lamp at the Thieves' Town Big Chest, which was required because the powder, in order to logically get your fire rod, was upstairs GT.
That logic chain. All right, we're gonna not hope for that case tonight. You know, lots of us got places to be. You know, like after this race.
It's true. Claire, where do you have to be? Isn't it like? Are you saying that you have like a hot date at like 10 p.m. or after?
You know, there is something called a weeknight potentially.
So
days, please. We can't death warp out here in the overworld. That is not a good idea.
It's true. I mean, it looks like he was taking some damage to set up, so we can quickly take a death here. But you definitely don't want to set up for a death warp and then accidentally die. So I'm very interested to see where our progression lies, because it's not going to be here in Skull Woods. Again, not in logic.
Yeah.
I have noticed a couple of tournament Crosskey seeds that have put the Moon Pearl in the exact same spot in the Dark World, and that's at the Swamp Palace entrance, which was Hammer Picks. That would be gross. That would be very gross.
Well, okay, you know what? At least we're going through hypotheticals, because, the more hypotheticals that we come up with that are terrible ideas, maybe it's just like those scenarios will no longer happen to our runners.
You say that, but
I would really like that for it to happen, Volcanis.
Well, no, not even that, but it's like, at what point does it become like what we have to do? We've already exhausted all of our Light World available entrances to us. We have to bunny walk somewhere. So why not just bunny walk over to Swamp Palace?
All the way over. Jeez.
All the way over to Swamp Palace.
I guess for what it's worth, right? We're gonna get some nice buddy music, and the path over to the Swamp Palace entrance isn't isn't that dangerous, right? It's not like what Jace is experiencing here in Skull Woods. Okay, some of this is gonna be still intentional, but still,
yes.
You don't really want to face these ropas on a regular basis.
No. Looks like he's just going to take another death and check these entrances here. He did pick up the small key from Skullwoods already, so not one that you see out in the world, but just the one that you see when you're usually heading towards the boss. Mm-hmm. Yes, the one under the pot. So this will give him the chance to get the chest over on the left side, while at the same time holding on to the small key that he'll pick up in the bumper room, which is always vanilla in entrance.
Yes, so far for all of our bunny walking and death warping inside, death fairy revival inside dungeons, we have gotten we got a mushroom, we got a shield, we got a boomerang.
Did just pick up a Thieves' Town big key.
Okay, so so for the more we can do more stuff now in Thieves' Town after we find our Moon Pearl.
It'd be interesting to see if Daze goes back for it. I don't think he will. But we'll see. You can beat a dungeon, might as well. But it looks like he's gonna call it quits for now. A little interesting, because I don't know what he has left aside from just more bunny walking.
Yeah, but I think everyone is ready to go. Oh, okay. To go back. It's going to go back to Village Valley and keep bunny walking, as you had mentioned. But looks like actually Daze Just another easy. Casual fake flipper, over to the witch's hut. no big deal.
That's not as easy as Daze is making it look.
No, dude, Daze it's like he knows this so well. He doesn't even need to set up anything. He just blind up the side of just first try.
Yeah. But he's gonna turn in that mushroom. Of course, he doesn't know where Potion Shop is, but we do, and it's in a gross location. Although maybe he checks it out soon. I don't think that's something that's high on his priority list.
He has not been over to the South Shore area, right?
He has. He was.
Oh, that's right. Okay, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, but both runners at this point have already been to all available Light World entrances. So to them, it's just bunny walking. Although I don't think Daze has checked the high or the Hookshot Cave connector. I suspect
correct,
that's what he's going to do right now.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll be more than chagrined to find out that he is going to end up in a location that he has basically already been to.
True, but what'll happen for him is that he'll also go left, just much like WindFox did. So he'll actually find the potion shop, having already turned in the mushroom.
Mm-hmm.
So this will actually might be something that WindFox puts off for a while, and could be a little bit of an advantage for Dazed.
Yeah, so meanwhile, also speaking of connectors and potentially something that we could pick up later, because we haven't found this yet, we did find power on Bunker Ledge. So that could be something else that we can. Oh, I was gonna say, WindFox, did you want to find out what the crystals are? Ooh, okay, so Pod and Thieves, yes. Pod and Thieves.
Okay.
That's actually very interesting, right? Because we found a big key to Thieves Town. WindFox, sequence broke the right side of Pod, the Bullock side, in order to get the Thieves Town small key. We don't have a hammer yet, so that big key the big chest is still not accessible to us. But at least, that is something that WindFox will have over the days, assuming they do find a hammer before they decide to full clear the dungeon.
I do find it amusing that one of our trackers saying the first 2 maps that we got were for Pod and Thieves Town. So making those maps
That's right. That is a very excellent observation. Yeah, I can't believe WindFox could have saved himself, a conversation by just map checking. I
can't believe it.
Exactly.
So it looks like Days can actually go into Turtle Rock and maybe do some shenanigans in Turtle Rock. None of this is in logic, but this is a very easy bomb jump to do in order to get kind of to part of Turtle Rock. I wonder if he's going to check. Okay, so he's just checking the connector. With this, he could have done 2 chests, but again, not in logic yet.
Okay, but we do get to be able to spit out another area of the Dark World that we didn't actually have access to before.
It looks like
it does kind of make you wonder what. So Wallkicks, like, what do you think the next piece of progression is going to be? Like, do you think it's going to be that pearl? Do you think it's going to be the mirror?
It's going to either be the pearl or the mirror. It's going to either be the pearl or the mirror, because the mirror at this point just gets us so many entrances, particularly on Death Mountain, and the pearl just gets us more entrances in the Dark World. So it's going to be one of the two. I'm leaning at this point towards the mirror. The glove would give us a couple of entrances, but I don't see it being enough at this point.
Okay, so Daze actually ends up finding Castle Tower. Everything that we're still doing is just like not in logic. You see, and I think they probably, from their perspective, right? They actually want to find that mirror, because wouldn't it be nicer to be able to mirror? Well, I guess like you can't death revive. I guess with that mirror, you still need to kind of do this the long way, but still, maybe we want a moon pearl at this point. Then that's the case.
But at the same time, I mean, with some of the entrances that WindFox has found, I'm sure he would love a mirror right about now.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
I think this entrance here at Swamp Palace has to have something.
Oh, all right. Well, Cakes, let's see if you're right.
I genuinely don't think we have anything else. I think this has to be like hammer pegs or hype cave or a connector. We got a small key, I believe that was to GT on.
Yeah, small key to GT. Yep. Mm-hmm.
WindFox
though needs to he needs to manipulate out this rope and actually get in. That's a pretty good guard.
Oh, it's a hook shot.
Oh, wow! All right.
Wait, what does the hook shot do for us?
No, we have hook shot cave, right?
Yes, it gives us hook shot cave, and it also puts into logic what Daze is doing right now.
Daze has been in so many locations. Where did he even come from?
Well, because he went from TR right to TR left, and you can hookshot to the big house.
Oh, right, yeah, that's right. So technically, right, what he did was, so no bomb jumps, of course, are going to be in logic, and required. So Daze just kind of took a shortcut. What he did is technically out of logic, yes. But with that hookshot, though, what he did is in logic. Now, just took a shortcut over in order to bomb jump.
Also, at Swamp Palace was the Hammer Pegs entrance again.
That's true.
I'm just going to point out.
You were literally saying that 5 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago or whatever it was.
I'm just going to point out that this seems to be a thing so far in this tournament, is that if you are bunny walk your butt over to Swamp Palace, where there will be Hammer Pegs.
All right, so I'm gonna hold you to this word tomorrow for your own race wall kicks. You better be doing this.
I will just straight up, not checking anything else, and be like, boom, easy.
All right, so we got three potentially good items left in Hookshot Cave on WindFox's side. We have
the Hera, flippers. Oh god.
How much money do we have?
I said we had 250-ish, so
we got 255 from Houlihan, right? Because both winners did that, and you're telling me after almost 40 minutes of the game, they have like gained a net like 40 rupees on both sides.
So what's our tree pulls looking like? What's our push grab looking like? Have either runner?
How are stun prizes looking?
So yeah, it'll be interesting. Although WindFox is going to obviously do the flippers checks, which obviously makes sense. Hobo is potentially one of the worst checks in the entire game.
Yeah, I mean it's right. So Dave's actually flipped it over here earlier. It looks like we actually just found $20. I agree with you, Wall Kicks. I mean it's so at least in non-interest, some people like to try and put up Hobo. With Dark World access and the mirror to come back here because it's a little bit faster, or like a flute, but. Yeah, it's not really an option in insurance, especially not if you get the flippers at this point. You're just like, with so little on WindFox's side, you're going to prioritize everything that is flipper checks. And as you said, we've seen this from Dazed already. Although I don't think he took this up to the Zora area. Correct, right. So I think he just tried to do fake flipper. Certainly with still no money, right? It's and not really any way I think to kind of get the waterfall ferry entrance, right? It's really not that appealing to go up there.
Right. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see kind of what we find here. Hopefully for our runner's sake, and maybe for our sake as well, that it isn't Zora, or if it is, there's like 300 rupees right here.
Okay, so actually looks like though on Daze's side, unlike WindFox, he is going to continue on and rescue. Oh, not rescue. We actually go see what's in Zelda's cell. Meanwhile, though, we did find Pipe Cave. Oh, okay.
Oh.
That is a big key to a big chest that we know where it is. Oh, wow.
There's the mirror.
We found a mirror, too, in Pipe Cave.
That's not surprising. Assuming that the Moon Pearl wasn't going to pop up there. With that mirror, we have a number of entrances at our disposal, and the mountain becomes so much nicer.
I'm sure Daze is more than happy to see that small Tina Castle Tower, especially that he was like, I was just there. Literally, yeah. I tried to death warp and everything, and death revive, and are you telling me I might have to go back?
I mean, he knows it's not logic, so hopefully for now he kind of puts that off and does some in-logic checks. We joke that maybe when it comes to Crosskeys you don't care about the logic. It is important sometimes to care about the logic.
Yeah, and especially, for how few logical options they have left, right? It's really going to be a good idea for Daze to try and prioritize those, right? Or at least recognize what's in logic, just because he knows then that's going to be the next piece of... He's going to be able to get some progression out of that.
Although it looks like he's going to...
Meanwhile, I was going to say, unlike, though, like, we're still going to, I guess, like, still be not in logic. He does have the piece on big key, which means he can keep going. But, without that Moon Pearl, this is not going to be at least going to lead us to the next piece of logical progression, which we know is Hookshot, seen on WindFox's side.
Yeah, so a little interesting. I don't know why he's hitting... WindFox, you have the mirror, buddy. You can walk. Or, well, we're not walking, that's okay. But Daze is going to prioritize clearing a dungeon, which is fine. I mean, if you sit here and tell me that after 45 minutes you have a dungeon done in Crosskeys, I'd be like, all right, cool, I'm on a decent pace at least.
Yeah, and and certainly, even with our knowledge, right? No hammer in sight means that even if there is going to be something in the big chest, chances are your opponent is probably going to isolate that as well, right?
Yeah. And we know one thing that the big chest won't be is that it won't be our logical first bow. Because that small key to Thieves' Town was bow locked. It could be our second bow. That would be hilarious.
It's not the first time we've seen a bow locked bow come up, and kind of bail out one of our runners.
And of course, be a little careful though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, also though, like, I don't think Daze did a map check earlier, so I'm not sure if he knows what Thieves Town is, but we know from WindFox470 side that Thieves Town is gonna be a 5/6 crystal, so that is gonna be certainly very beneficial to Daze.
Yes. WindFox at the vanilla big key chest of Turok, finding our second Ice Palace small key. Just a little quirk of knowledge to consider that you're... Actually, I don't think that second key really matters unless say like the Canis Samaria would have been the thing, but it's not going to be. Ooh, there's a good small key though on Dave's side.
Yeah, that's going to be a really nice small key. We haven't found the dam. We haven't found swamp. And well, I guess we have flippers. But still though, we need still quite a few number of things left in order to actually make some progress in Swamp Palace. But the good news is, of course, if we have the hook shot, because one of the last things, of course, you want to do is dive swamp with everything else and not the hook shot.
Again, another logical quirk there is that the Thieves Town attic is logically locked by the Thieves Town small key.
That's true. Yes.
Bow locked.
Which is bow locked as well.
So again, there could still be a bow in Swamp Palace, but it would logically be our silvers. Yeah. I am going to harp on this until we find a bow.
I was gonna say, so speaking of logic things, Daze of course is has been kindly reminded that you can still clear Thieves Town without a glove. You just kind of have to take the long way around. It's amazing. It's like, why isn't this thing lifting? I'm trying to push the A button.
Do get our first bottle. WindFox, meanwhile, going to take the connector at Hookshot Cave, which is good because this is the one that takes him on top of Floating Island, as opposed to the Hyrule Castle connector, which means he wouldn't be able to get the item on Floating Island, which we know isn't logic. Why is the attic bowlock, according from our chat? Because the Thieves Town small that WindFox has, he got... Oh, hello, hammer!
Oh, wow! Okay,
that is concerning
a really,
all of a sudden.
Wow. Okay, so certainly for Daze's sake, you're gonna hope that nothing is in the Thieves Town big chest because we have just found the hammer. But okay, right as you just said, wall kicks. It's still bow locked technically. So until we find the bow, it's not going to be logic accessible to it's not going to be in logic. But the fact that you are going to be able to clear everything in Thieves Town in one go is going to be a real feels good feeling.
Nice glove on WindFox's side.
WindFox is just like piling on the progression. Like, I mean, he found the hook shot, which as you called it, Well Kicks was in the Swamp Palace entrance in the Dark World, and it just like exploded from there, right?
Yeah.
To like everything else.
A little interesting that WindFox chose to check the right side of Death Mountain. I think knowing that the old man saving quit, at least the backside takes him to Kakariko, I maybe would have prioritized the left side first, but that is a decision to be made. Does find a Master Sword and another pod small key. I believe that might be our second overall. Nope, it's our third. I missed one somewhere.
Yeah, well, I mean, because this is why we have such excellent trackers, Tofa and Lady Laura Linda, doing all of the hard work for us.
Oh yeah, WindFox has the hookshot, so you can just hookshot over to So a little funny thing right there was that WindFox found the back of Super Bunny Cave to get his items, checked the next entrance, and it was the front of Super Bunny Cave.
Well, how convenient.
Sometimes it do be like that.
It was just like the quarreling brothers in Kakariko, right? It's like we found one dog, we found the other, like we're done. So what is left for us at this? Oh, wow, okay. Good thing WindFox took a couple extra sword slashes there because I was actually worried that he was gonna get dead rocked right in front of the entrance of the dam.
Dam is nice, and with what we collectively know, we could almost clear swamp.